Hi, I'm Sug.
And I'm Dan.
This is the Demystified Zone.
A conversation about North Korea, who is watching my every move.
Hey, what's up, listeners? Welcome back, Dan.
Hey.
Jay.
Hey.
I gotta feel like I gotta say hi to Jay all the time now because
Yeah.
I don't like ignoring him.
He's a person.
Yeah, he does shady things, but he's a person.
I am a person, yes.
Speaking of people, there are people out there listening to us. Hi, listeners. Thank you for being here with us. We know you're there. Thank you for your emails. We do read them. Dan does, at least, because I'm not allowed access to those email accounts. Or I do. I just don't check them.
You just forget the passwords, buddy.
That's true. You're right. 100%. Passwords are not my thing. And way back when we started, one of our first listeners emailed us some suggestions on shows, which, by the way, listeners, please feel free to do that. If there's something you want to know about North Korea that we're not talking about or we're not talking deeply enough, you can ask us questions. It's an open conversation, dialogue here. Dan is great at email passwords, so he'll be on top of those. And then he'll bring them to me, and then we'll talk together.
Yes.
This is a shout out to Amon. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Amon.
Yes.
Early email, and Amon asked about tourism in North Korea, which is a great topic to talk about. We've been wanting to do this one, so we figured, hey, let's go back and reach into this whole box. Obviously, the box, if you didn't know, is closed right now. There is no tourism in North Korea.
For Americans.
Yeah.
Wait.
Well,
yeah, that's true.
it's a little...
Yeah.
It could be China. We're going to get into all this, okay? Sorry. But for sure, Americans. So if you are listening in America right now, you want to go to North Korea, you want to be the adventurous traveler, just don't do it. Do not travel. Okay, Look at the U.S. government travel website. They'll tell you, this is not me telling you, this is the U.S., your government telling you, do not travel to North Korea. Also, Australian and UK citizens, same message there. Believe me, I already checked. I did you the favor. Do not travel is the advisory. Honestly, I don't think you could get in, even if you wanted to, unless you had some very special connections or
a job or that North Korea needs you to come in.
That as well, as we discuss. Or an insatiable desire to cross that border, which who am I to say who's going to stop you?
Wanderlust.
But you don't say we didn't warn you.
Yes.
Tourism. Dan, you are a tourist, some might say, who frequents the Korea, which is South Korea.
South Korea.
China.
Yes. Well, not anymore.
Not so much anymore.
Yeah.
Because of the same reasons, closed borders, restricted travel, etc. I haven't really been in Asia as much as I'd like to. I went to China and Japan, actually, right before COVID. This is 2019.
Oh, yeah, that's right, you did.
2019. I was in Shanghai
right.
and Tokyo. Didn't get to make it over to Korea. That was going to be a part of our trip originally, but we just didn't have the time. Talk to me about, we talked about this briefly in a recent episode. Last time I was in Korea was in 2000.
Yeah.
And this country, if not known for anything, is known for how much it has changed in the last 70 years, which is from the time the two Koreas were split. What have you noticed is different in South Korea today versus when you first went?
Yeah.
What was that, 15 years ago?
Yeah, something like that. 2007 or 8. Yes, 2008 was the first time I was in. Around there. What's changed? A lot more traffic. That bus ride, if you're taking the bus, that bus ride from the airport into Seoul has just gotten exponentially longer. I think as the country has gotten more wealthy, that's another thing that's changed.
Traffic.
People have gotten more cars.
That's the downside of development.
Yes.
Traffic in every country. The richer you get, the worse it is to drive with others on the road.
Or the more desirable it is to live there, like Southern California for the weather. It's really bad traffic, and it's gotten worse. But man, another thing is that they're more welcoming to outsiders. So Korea had a reputation of being very cold to outsiders until very recently. So from what I've heard...
What does that mean? What does it look like?
Especially like Korean Americans.
Okay.
People would get a mouthful for not knowing how to speak English or Korean. Sorry.
But was it effective when they can't understand?
It's the tone.
They're just cussing you out.
I know when
Korean.
I know when my mom is yelling at me, even though I don't understand what she's saying.
But when a stranger does, isn't it just humorous to you at that point, or do you feel threatened and upset?
I guess it depends on the person. Yeah, I as an adult, I think I would just laugh it off at this point. But
that's toned down.
Totally. It is a more diverse and metropolitan and worldly place. It's so weird to see like different races in Korea for me. A person who's been like traveling there throughout the years. It is so weird to see that. Some people are sad about that.
Are they less xenophobic out there now?
I don't know.
Or is it the same,
that's what I'm saying. I think some
slowly...
people are, America is this international place, right? Like we are a country of immigrants,
sure,
blah, blah, blah. But Korea is just Korea.
Yeah.
Right?
Or any other country for that matter. It's just that country. We're very unique in that.
Yeah.
Maybe Canada too. Who knows? But they're just our,
So,
sorry, Canadians. That wasn't a knock at you. But yes, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. And as Korea is becoming more wealthy, like I said, and along with the traffic, as the workforce becomes more and more specialized and trained, means that they need cheap labor. They need laborers now to man their convenience stores and to work in their factories. And so even here in America, I've met so many like non-Koreans who've worked in Korea.
Are they Mexican?
No, they're okay.
Who are the Mexican laborers in Korea?
Yeah.
Because I had the same experience in Italy.
Yeah.
Like the low-cost immigrant labor in Italy are people from the Middle East and parts of Africa, which is really interesting to me because that's their labor force now.
It's mostly from what I've seen, Southeast Asia.
Okay. What, Vietnamese? Okay. Indonesian?
So,
like who we talking? Like who did you run into?
All right. I'm going to tell you a slightly embarrassing story. But
okay.
It's funny.
Embarrass yourself.
Okay. My family was on vacation and we were trying to get into this restaurant. This was in Las Vegas.
What year?
This Thanksgiving.
Wait, this is in America? This is not even in South Korea?
Just hear me out.
Okay.
So we were trying to get into this restaurant and it was like a 40-minute wait. So there was this nail salon next door. My wife's like, let's get a pedicure. And I was like, fine.
That is the inappropriate response to it, but you should be happy to get a pedicure. Pedicures are amazing. Sorry, I digress.
Yeah, I realize now.
You didn't know. You didn't know.
Really good. Anyway, this woman was incredible. She was working on my very unwieldy feet.
Yes.
And
your biker's feet.
Yes,
at the time.
and she was just going through it, and she's like, "Oh, are you Korean?" And then she spoke better Korean than I did, and she's like, "I worked at factories in Korea, blah blah blah."
What did you think she was when you saw her? What did you profile her as?
She looked like she was from Southeast Asia. Yeah.
What country were you like? This is a come on.
I am not that good at profiling, and I can do regions, but I cannot.
Okay, so you just landed on Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
And you're right.
Yeah.
What country was she from?
Vietnam.
But her Korean was great.
Incredible Korean.
You know what though? A lot of Southeast Asians. I mean, K-pop is ubiquitous now, and K-dramas especially.
Yeah.
That I find a lot of Southeast. Not everyone, obviously, but can speak Korean because of the dramas.
Yes.
And they've never been to Korea.
Yes.
And it's also shameful to me.
To us.
Because I both watch dramas and I still can't speak. I'm just a hopeless cause.
Subtitles.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So here in Chicago, same story, different context. Pedicure. I love them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like Mongolian immigrants here. And Mongolians, when we were talking about Manchuria in the last podcast, very similar genetics to Koreans.
Yes.
So they look like,
Mongolia.
to me, they look like Koreans.
Yes.
And I thought this woman was Korean, but something was a little bit, I was like, they're not Korean, but they look Korean.
Uh-huh.
And I have no shame when it comes to asking people in public about what they are. So I was like, where are you from? Like, are you from, you look Korean to me, but and she's like, no, I'm Mongolian. But she also could speak Korean because it was up here in K-Town in Chicago. It wasn't great. It wasn't like conversational, but probably better than mine still.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Korea, that's a great point. Korea is now an it place.
Yes. It's
globally. We made it.
Hooray.
we made it. At least half of Korea did. And it is listeners out there, you haven't been to Korea, you should go. It's awesome.
It's incredible.
And I'm saying from 2000 Korea when I went. And it's even better now from what Dan tells me.
Yeah.
Because he never takes me there. Hint. Well, we're here to talk about North Korea. And those who may not know, North Korea has a tourist market as well. Like any country. You know, honestly, I was thinking about this. It's like tourism is anywhere. It's just where people can go and with the means can go, will go.
Yeah.
You may not be welcome, but it's still tourism when you go and you show up, right? Like,
Be welcome.
if you're not welcome, which many Americans aren't welcome sometimes, and because we're loud and I get it, but you're still You're still touring, right? Tourism is such a global and like what's the word I'm looking for? It's such a welcoming thing. It's not exclusive. No. It can be if the country doesn't, but still, even then.
But even in like the poorest countries, people might go there because it's so cheap for them to travel there.
Or it's unique and interesting, and it has its own.
And every place is unique and interesting.
Exactly.
So I mean, everyone.
Like literally, Antarctica has no people, but we still tourists there. We can tour. Human beings are amazing people. We can tour anywhere we want.
Yes.
Except maybe this one place, which is North Korea. I'm sure there's spots in Russia right now that you cannot tour either.
Yeah.
But definitely, as a country and nation. Overall, North Korea, one of the most locked down nations in terms of outside tourists, especially, as we mentioned before, to Americans.
Yes.
So talk to us about, just so everyone knows, 2019, the borders were shut down for not because of COVID yet, but COVID made that even tighter.
Yes.
But it was because of political turmoil, all that was happening. But talk to us pre-2019, Dan. What was tourism like in North Korea? What did you know of it?
Yeah. Obviously, I've never been there, and I would never go unless there was regime change. But from what I've heard from people, reports, things like that, you would have to fly in from China. Obviously, you can, hop on a North Korean airplane in South Korea.
Why is that? To explain
because
to
of
people who may
the
not know.
political reasons. North Koreans are not welcome in South Korea.
South Koreans aren't welcome in North Korea, right? North Koreans are welcome in South Korea.
I was saying, like North Korea has their own airlines.
Got it.
And
their planes cannot land in South Korea.
In China, right?
Got it.
So, so you'd have to board in somewhere in China. They would take you to Pyongyang, and you would have to tour Pyongyang with a minder or two, meaning like a soldier who is breathing down your neck the whole time, making sure you don't do anything bad, according to them, or spread anything, or leave any leaflets anywhere. You can tour all of the wonderful sites, like all of the Kim Il-sung statues. And they have very specific rules on those statues. You have to take a picture of the whole thing, I hear. You can't take a picture of like just the face, the beautiful face of Kim Il-sung. I'm being sarcastic. is very, very, even when you're in, you are being watched constantly, especially as an American.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're going to get into this now, is there are, you go on the web, YouTube videos of travelers, American and otherwise, whether Western, it's not just American, by the way, English speaking countries are generally not welcome. However, there are plenty of YouTubers who have done this pre-2019. You won't find anything after that. In fact, there was a tour company called Young Pioneer Tours, which I think may still be around, who hosts a lot of tours in Asia. One of their top tours was this one in North Korea, which, by the way, Otto Warmbier was on their tour. And that is not to implicate them in any way. I hope that doesn't come off that way. I'm just saying that's how he was in the country, because this tour company had a set and established tour in North Korea. And they have this article on their website called The Top 10 Myths About North Korea and Tourism. And I want to go through this with you. And we're not trying to debunk here. I'm not trying to just be like, y'all are wrong. Because they've obviously been to North Korea plenty of times. So they have their own experiences. They have their own, like you said, Dan, you haven't been in North Korea. They actually have been in and out in this experience. But I want to go through this and just give a little more light to those who, from our perspective, obviously we work with North Korea in a very different light. So let's go through this list. So number one, it's hard to get a North Korean visa and only so many people are allowed to visit each year. This is a common myth, according to the article author. North Korea is very keen on encouraging tourists. In 2015, Kim Jong-un welcomed the idea of initiating new tourism projects. Up to 2 million visitors each year. In 2019, tourism numbers reach as high as 300,000 for Chinese tourists, a little over 4,000 for Western tourists. There's still a long way to go. So that's another point I want to point out. Chinese tourists are very welcome to North Korea. In fact, that is their main tourism market, because obviously China and North Korea are friends or frenemies. I don't know what their status is. What do you think of that first myth?
That's true.
It is a myth? Busted or not busted?
That's true. I mean, if you could get into North Korea, I would go. I think you should go.
Yeah.
I don't fool yourself into thinking, they are something different from who they are. But I respect that. Like Otto Warmbier going as an intellectual, out of an intellectual curiosity. Yeah. And I think you should go.
Yeah. And knowing. And you know what? Honestly, and you'll see this in some of the YouTube videos, you go in there, and we'll put these in the links. But many of the people go in there talking about, you got to follow the rules.
Yeah.
And that's with any country. You come into their country, you got to follow the rules.
You're
not just a free American anymore.
Especially North Korea.
You are at your heart, sure. But again, in the case of Otto Warmbier, like that was, not to justify what they did. What they did was terrible.
Yeah.
But what he did was something that they outlawed, is illegal in their country.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, they had to make an example of him, which is terrible. And that I don't agree with, and how North Korea handles it. But to respect their laws is a little bit, that's their laws. Like you're entering their country. Yeah. Let's move on. Number 2, only a few nationalities could visit North Korea because they're racist. And once you cannot travel to other countries if you do that. So they're saying this is a myth.
Okay.
How do you feel about? I mean, that makes sense though.
It makes sense. Yeah.
They're a very closed off country, so I don't really understand what you're busting there. I think it is. Yeah, it's not true 100%, but generally, people don't like seeing. Well, I think the latter half. They're saying if you have a stamp in your passport that says North Korea, other countries won't let you in.
Well, right.
I think that's probably only true if you look like a North Korean.
Yeah. No, they're very welcoming of your dollars, for sure.
Yeah. All right, let's move on.
Yeah.
Let's find one that's more fiery here. Now, let's skip that one. They're saying you can only visit certain places, which is, I think that's true. I don't know what they're trying to bust. All tourists must stay in one hotel on an island. They're saying this is not true. I think this is true. Again, I think that this website's trying to get away with a little bit like nuance of these questions. this is the one I want to talk about. The government spy, or your minder Dan was talking about.
Yeah.
They'll spy on you and they'll try to brainwash you. This is a very erratic statement, but it's true. People feel this way.
Right.
Let's talk about the minders.
Yeah. They will, once you're at a statue, they will have to go through their whole speech on that statue. You can't interrupt them, and you can't say, hey, I've had enough of this. Let's move on to the next one. They got to go through their whole thing. But it's not like they're going to sit you down and say, hey, this is why They're not like the soldiers meeting a South Korean farmer, and trying to indoctrinate them. No, they, basically they know that you're there to check things out, and they're there to watch over you, but they're not there to indoctrinate you.
There's something here that this author writes, and he's probably works with the tour company. He says, there's no way to absolutely confirm this, but with my 8+ years experience working in the country, I highly doubt that North Koreans are spying or taking notes on foreign tourists. And I feel like that is coming. I get it. You've been there 8+ years, and there's another myth down there about propaganda and seeing what you want to see. I would say I would question
notes on you.
I would question your understanding of their culture, and a little naivete on your end.
They take notes on everyone, man.
They might not be writing them in front of you, but there are mental notes being taken.
I'm sure the minders are being interviewed afterwards. Someone's taking notes about you.
So he goes on to say, we at YPT arrange a tour group at least once a week throughout the year and have been doing so for over 10 years. With the constant in and out trips, our 2 local guides who are with the group the tour are with us to help answer any question guests will mostly definitely have about the country. With that said, it's important to know that North Korea... Yeah, okay. So to be fair, he talks about both sides of the coin here, about, again, minding their laws and being respectful of their laws. I will say... Again, I don't know if I buy this from him or whoever wrote this, and I know that you don't either, but it's a little naive to say, 10 years, someone can walk you down the same tour for 10 years easily, aka like the Truman Show, as we talk about, like which is what Korea is known for, is setting up controlled experiences of their nation and viewpoints. And as a tourist company, that is exactly what you're going to get. Mm-hmm. And again, I'm not discounting this person's travels to North Korea. I'm sure they've seen a lot. They've interacted a lot.
And I would like to talk to them and learn from them. But I disagree.
I disagree as well. I think it's well known and documented that there are note takers everywhere. And maybe they're not taking notes always on you, but they're taking notes about what's happening.
Yeah. They're reporting to someone what you did.
Mm-hmm. Next one's similar about the government minders. We're going to skip that for now. We just kind of talked about that. Again, the website is a tourism, to their credit. This is a tourism website. They're trying to like get people to come. So they're going to paint this in a good light. The guides keep you in a bubble everywhere you go. This myth is mostly true. Okay. So he didn't buzz. He's saying this is true. All right, let's skip that. True myth. It's not a myth. Pyongyang is the showcase city. Okay. That's true as well. Let's skip that. So most of these are not busted. I don't know if you can write 10 things that are myths if you're saying they're not myths. It's more like 7, maybe 6. Everyone is an actor. All what you see is arranged for tourists. Okay, I think there's some credit here. So this idea that everything is staged, like the movie The Interview, everything is built out and everyone's rehearsed.
Like the Truman Show.
Yes, like a rehearsed show. I can see this being not true. Like people in Pyongyang are living their lives. Okay. It's just they have a better life than what you see in 90% of the country. You're seeing only one life. It's like if you came in, you went to like, what's a fancy city? Like you went to like Coachella, like, and that's the only kind of life you saw in America.
Right.
Right? Like everyone's doing great. Everyone's having a great time. Everyone's partying, living it up, whatever it is. Maybe, you don't see homeless people. I don't know if you see homeless people in Coachella. Maybe that was a bad example, but right? Like, I feel like that is more... Yeah, they're living their lives.
I don't know.
Okay. You got some doubt on this one?
Because he says, at the end, he says, have they prepared everyone just for my small tourist group? Why would you think that they wouldn't be able to do that? I think they can do that.
I agree. However, even from watching from the YouTube videos I've watched, it doesn't appear that way. Some aspects do, for sure.
Yeah.
Like there's one YouTuber that goes to like this outdoor celebration that happens to be happening at that moment. And they have it every year. And I can't say whether or not that does happen every year or not. But for sure, this group was allowed to go to that celebration, whether it was real or not. And there was a reason why they were allowed to go to that and see that. And the people in there did not like there were children there that were just like playing, and they seemed like unless these were the best actors in the entire child actors in the world, they seemed like natural children just playing. Not to say though that the entire event itself wasn't set up just for
just
looks.
for the tourists, right?
Yeah.
I see. Okay.
All right, let's keep going down. Was that the last one? Okay, 10. It would be interesting, but it won't be fun. That's a little subjective, I guess. But why would that be? It won't be. It would be interesting, but it won't be fun. I guess. Okay, that goes into. That's a great segue. So, Amon, sent us some links, which thank you again for that. And these are just small articles and YouTubers who posted about the different types of tourism potential in North Korea. One of them being these bicycle tours. And this is, I think, an Italian guy. He's riding through. You can let that run, Jay. He's on a tour. They're the minders, North Korean minders with them. You can find this on our link here. It's not like a well-known, like a viral video necessarily, but it does have a lot of views, decent amount of views. And he just talks about, I think they're at the one of the DMZ border towns, and they ride through this bike path to what you mentioned, a monument to one of the great leaders.
Right.
Oh no, this is Pyongyang. I'm sorry, this is Pyongyang. And obviously, it's still a set tour. I think it was like normally a walking tour. If you can skip ahead there, Jay, like when they're actually biking, get like a good way there. So this is like the trail they rode to the top of the mountain.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, you can do bike ride tours. There are actual tourist things again, pre-2019. This is all before the time of being closed off. And honestly, like you can see in these videos, North Korea is beautiful. Yeah. It's untouched. Mm-hmm. Look at all that land. Look at that view.
Yeah, if they don't want people to throw garbage on the trail, guess what? Their people will not throw garbage down the trail.
Exactly.
It'll be pristine.
It'll be very pristine. Well, let alone how many people are on that trail, allowed to even walk the trail and be on that trail. If you go back, Jay, go back to maybe like midway through a little bit further, you'll see right there. They're at the JSA, but on the other side.
Cool.
So this is on the North Korean side, looking over to South Korea of the DMZ. The kind of the well-known JSA. So there's tourism. Yeah,
I would love to do that as a cyclist or former now cyclist.
Oh, sad. I'm sorry that if this triggered your cycling loss, Dan. I apologize. Didn't mean to do that.
Sad day.
All right, so we went through this thing. There's tourism. There was tourism. Again, if you look at like the life of Jord, this is a 2019 YouTube traveler, Indigo Traveler 2018. We're not going to go through all of it here, but just watch these videos. Yeah. And they show you a relatively normal North Korea. However, here's two things I would comment. One, it's the same look from both of them. They're looking at the same train station. They're looking at the same areas in Pyongyang. Yeah. Sure, they're on the bus. They pass by workers and people on farm. And one of them, and both of these YouTubers are very good about like, hey, I'm not trying to frame this anyway. I'm just telling you my experience. Right. Like this is not political.
I'm just telling you what I saw.
And so some of the comments that stuck out to me was one of them said, there are no cars here. And he shows a car on the road. He's like, this is the only car I've seen in like hours of being on this bus. And then everyone's on a bike, or he noticed like people like riding around on oxen, things like that. Like he definitely felt the 1940s, 30s vibes. Another comment he said was, I just thought this was interesting. He went to a minder and the minder said, "Welcome to Korea." And he was like, "Yeah, I guess they call this place Korea, North Korea," which I never thought about.
Oh yeah, you don't. Another interesting fact about that is, we call our South Koreans call themselves Hanguk, right? One people. But that is a term that was constructed recently. Chosun is what Korean people used to call themselves, like in the ancient Joseon dynasty. So when you say Hanguk 사람, that is referring to a South Korean. North Koreans call themselves Joseon 사람.
Oh,
yeah,
the ancient peoples.
Yeah, they
Does
still
Joseon,
connect
does
themselves.
Joseon just someone's name, like the family dynasty name, or does it mean something like?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't know. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
That was a gem.
Thank you.
So now, okay, we contrast that. So these guys are great. They kind of just give you an idea of what it looks like. We contrast this with this young woman. I think she's a UK citizen. Zoe discovers NK.
Yes.
And it's a TikTok. And obviously she has some Instagram and things like that. And this has been getting a lot of fire and scrutiny lately from other TikTokers. Can you say towards the top there, Jay? And so she's got like 130K followers, a lot, and getting a lot of views, but a lot of controversy too. The reason being is her videos are very pro, what would look like pro North Korea.
Yeah.
Meaning, so it says right in her thing. First of all, it says, not a propaganda account. Which I guess just for any advice, if you want people to don't start off with it. Don't say you're not a propaganda account and think people aren't going to think you're a propaganda account. No government affiliations and expanding the narrative. I appreciate the last one, expanding the narrative. I think we all want to know that.
Yeah.
However, if you watch these videos, I'm going to let you all judge for yourselves. Hopefully you watch this. She shows very normal things in Pyongyang, normal activities.
A wedding.
She's given access to very unique situations like this boat tour, a wedding, this like outside dance ceremony she goes to, all over. And here's what again, I want listeners, if you need to pause and watch these and judge for yourself, please do so, because now we're going to get into some subjective territory here or commentary. I appreciate it, but I don't know if it's the TikTok nature of it that bugs me, because I just don't like TikTok in general, but it just feels fake. And again, that could be the TikTok, but I feel like she's trying to, it's not really a let's learn about them. It feels a lot like North Korean propaganda. That's the best way I can put it. It feels like, hey, look at me. I'm normal.
It's definitely showing one side of the equation, for sure.
And I'm not saying North Koreans aren't normal. Like, there is a population, and we've talked about this.
Yeah.
There's a society and a
I've
population.
met many of them.
Yes.
Great people.
However, when we see them dancing in squares in unison, like that one right there, thousands of people dancing in unison in the square, and this young woman is allowed to videotape this. For one, this is Pyongyang for sure, which we know the entire city is set up to be propaganda.
Yeah.
If she were to show me the country and she was allowed there, sure, I would believe her and I'd actually listen to her. But there are no videos of her in the country. It's only in Pyongyang.
Yeah.
If you notice, go back to that main screen.
I thought I saw one she said she was on the West Coast or something. Yeah, right there. Yeah.
The hot spa hotel in Nampo, North Korea's West Coast. Okay, again, she's in a spa, a hotel, which we know already are built for foreigners. There's no one in this video. She's in a giant pool area by herself. Again, proclaiming, North Korea is this great tourist country, which, again, I'm not against tourists going to North Korea. I'm against you painting this picture for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell me your feeling. What are you thinking?
So with the other guys in their YouTubes, you're right. They're very like, look, I understand what this looks like. I just went here. I'll show you what I saw. This seems like, she's trying to bust the narrative of North Korea is not a pleasant place to live. It's actually a wonderful place to live. To completely not discuss the other side of the equation, I think is wrong. And
if this, I'm sorry, I'm going to get into something that.
Okay.
And I'm just going to be honest here, okay? And I don't know if I apologize if I offend people, but I guess I do. I apologize if I offend you.
Yeah.
If this was a North Korean doing this, I'd be okay with it. The fact that it's this young UK girl telling me this, and that's not a statement of sexism, a UK man, girl, whatever. A person telling me North Korea is a great country that you can come visit. It's happy-go-lucky.
Right.
That bothers me.
As a Korean person especially.
That bothers me a lot.
Yeah.
If a North Korean came out and said, which they have, they have some really crazy young North Koreans lying about outwardly. And I'm not saying she's lying. I'm not saying she's lying. She's experienced a very specific view, but I think she's just being very naive about the overall context of the country. In that, if you're trying to promote tourism, you're coming from this lens of, we're not bad. We're not as bad, this bad people you think we are.
Yeah.
I have a problem with that. One, you're not those people. Two is there's a lot more in that country going on. Similar to, like another country, like if they're promoting, again, I'm for tourism there. I want to go there.
Yeah.
But there's so much being hidden about what your money in tourism is doing for that country and the people that you're seeing.
Just be intellectually honest about it. I'm not saying that I can't read her mind, but it doesn't seem like she is grappling with the full picture. At least these other dudes, when they say, and I'm not making a gender, like these guys are good and this girl is bad. No, it's like these other YouTube videos, they're like, look, I get it. She's not doing that. There's no like pause, like, look.
Well, let me say something.
Must look.
Something that came out to me for one of the other YouTubers was he had said that it's beautiful here.
Yeah,
I can see.
I'm sure it is.
Well, hold on. He says it's beautiful, but he goes, but I feel uncomfortable wherever I am.
Yes.
I don't know if it's the rules. And he was like, there's a lot of interesting rules, which I respect. And I did. He did the bow to the statue of Kim Il-sung, Kim Jong-il. Some people didn't do it, which is okay. You have the choice.
Oh, really?
But you're not allowed to go in front of it if you don't do it. You just can't go in front of it. But he and his group decided to do it.
Yeah.
So
I'm
they're
okay
like,
with that.
So like he was like, I'm okay with that. Like that's their rule. But he had said something like, I feel uncomfortable here. I don't know if I could relax as a tourist here.
Yes.
And that's not because it's not a fun country and it's not a beautiful country. It's something else.
Something else.
And he didn't make commentary. He just left it. That's just how he was feeling. Which I think that's the picture right there. There's something else going on here that is not right.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you could, again, like you would expect someone like me, right, who has seen and studied and reported on the horrors of this country to be like, you should never go there. I am not a blanket statement person. If you want to go there, but go there with your eyes wide open. I don't know. I don't have TikTok. I'm very afraid of TikTok because I'm above 35. Well above 35.
It's a very low bar you pick for yourself to start from, but I appreciate that.
But yeah, so I haven't seen all of her videos too. Maybe I also need to before I, but it just doesn't seem like she has that other side. Like, look, that side. It doesn't. I have watched. Right.
I have TikTok. I watched a lot,
so
and I would say,
is there any pause in her?
I will say sometimes she, like going back to the expanding the view. Mm-hmm. I really appreciate that
that's great.
Approach. However, the view is still, to me, it's like immaturely executed, or like it's not emotionally mature. It's very look, beautiful countryside. Look, beautiful people. there's no, and I'm not saying she's got to be a journalist about it.
Yeah.
There's no question about like, well, for example, in that like hotel one you saw, where are all the people? Why is she the only one there in this beautiful resort? And she never goes there ever in all these things. And it's just, which again, I'm all for the positivity for tourism to North Korea. However, it's the conversation cannot be ignored.
Yeah. Maybe she's she's very open about trying to expand the narrative. Cool. Maybe she feels like, hey, if I develop a close relationship with these people and I, maybe something can happen internationally. If she feels that way, okay, fine. Yeah, but it sure does feel like an ad for North Korea. Not just tourism there, but like, hey, this is a great place.
Yeah.
Unlike what everyone else says.
And I'm all for if her work leads to more openness of outsiders coming into North Korea on all levels, not just tourism, but even like UN and other agencies that have been trying to get in there that aren't allowed or are allowed only very limitedly. I'm all for that. Time will tell. For now, it feels more like the only one that benefits from this is her and North Korea in terms of North Korea's propaganda, not North Korea's tourism market. Because it's closed. North Korea is not open. Again, that's limited. Chinese tourists are still kind of welcome. It depends.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a very complicated situation and nuanced situation as far as the conversation around this country. It's you never want to paint anything with broad strokes. So I will reserve my final judgment for if I ever talk to this person. And I would love to talk to her, but I would have some tough questions for her, for sure.
Let's get her on.
Yeah.
We're going to reach out to, I already forgot her name or the handle. Anywho, on a lighter note, there are 3 major tourist celebrated attractions from North Korea's end. The Munsu Water Park.
Okay.
Masi Kreong Ski Resort. I don't know what the heck that I'm saying right now. Ski resort, water park, or zoo, Korea Central Zoo.
Yeah.
Which of these 3 are you going to, Dan? You get one shot. You get to go across the border. You can only go to one of these 3. What do you think? And let me give you some highlights for each one. Okay, the ski resort, built with the Swiss ski lift manufacturer, which was blocked from entering the country, was snuck in through China.
Interesting.
Has been opened, but has a 30-year-old Austrian-made gondola lift that was retired from a Chinese ski resort previously. Wow. And is not been skied on, I think, in the last several years.
Oh, so fresh powder.
It's fresh. This thing has not been touched. Okay. All right. Or, option 2, Munsu Water Park, which sports 14 slides, swimming pool, volleyball court, basketball court, rock climbing wall, hair salon, buffet, bar, and a life-size statue of Kim Jong-il stands in the foyer of the indoor swimming pool watching you undress. And then 3rd, last but not least, the Korea Central Zoo. Lonely Planet travel guide described it as depressing and uninspiring, best avoided. Many have claimed that the animals are used for live animal fights and cage animal fight off to the death. But of course, North Korea denies this.
North Korea.
But it's their zoo. You get live animal fights along with the caged animals that you see.
Let's be honest. Any zoo, it's not like the animals are like
thriving,
loving it there.
Sure.
So,
but this. Let me give you some of the highlights. Cigarette smoking chimpanzees, basketball playing monkeys, doves that do a figure skating routine.
Wait, what?
Doves, like the
Doves?
flying bird. They're part of a figure skating routine. So
okay,
maybe they skate with the skaters.
I'm like, they have dove ice skates?
And then a dog who is trained to manipulate an abacus.
Oh.
One of those math things. And then there's also fighting to the death of different exotic animals.
This is horrendous.
Okay, you have three things. Where are you going?
Oh, man. All right.
You can only go to one. Jay, I want you to think about two. Where are you going and why?
I would go to the zoo.
Why?
Look, man, I want to see the true essence of North Korea, right? And yeah, these animals, I feel terrible for them, but this is North Korea, the zoo where they have these cage fights and they let their monkeys smoke and things like that. That is a true representation of North Korea. I don't want no skiing. I don't want no
They have
water park.
that extinct tiger. Remember the tiger?
Oh yeah, the Malaysian.
The Malaysian.
Manchurian.
Manchurian tiger. They might have one.
They might.
They've been breeding in secret. Jay, where are you going?
Water park.
You want to see the statue watch you undress?
No, I just want to go to a water park for the first time where there are no lines. So I can ride everything.
You could say that about the ski resort too.
Oh, that too, yeah. But
that
honestly,
lift, I don't know.
I'm gonna go water park myself.
Oh.
I feel like there are no children there, so there's no pee in the water. If there's running water there at all, it's still useful. You can still go down the slides with no water as going on a potato sack or something. The ski resort, I'm going to know because I feel like who knows what overgrowth has happened. I'm probably going to hit a tree and die. I'm not a very good skier anyway.
Yeah, me too.
Who knows how well. I'm always looking at upkeep at these places. What is probably kept most or used least? And I'm saying water park. I agree. Water park is where I'm going to have my fun. I'm going to play some basketball. The monkeys and I don't know, the zoos just depress me. I don't like
smoking monkeys.
I know those depress me though. I don't like going to zoos.
Yeah, I don't
anyway.
like going to zoos.
See, I'm gonna enjoy myself. Jay and I are going to Water Park. We'll meet you.
We'll meet you for dinner afterwards.
We'll see you later, Dan, after you've had your time with the smoking monkeys. Hey listeners, if you're enjoying the podcast or becoming more interested in North Korea, or maybe you're just feeling generous right now, please leave us a review and share it with your people. It'll help us to continue to grow this show and spread awareness about North Korean refugees and all that is going on over there. And it'll also help prove to my Amma that my career choices were right.